Hello and welcome to another episode of Artist Spotlight. I'm Vicki Landon, Administrator for Orange County's Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs, and I am here today with Natouri Roye, the artist behind Welcome to the Tropics in the Multicultural Center. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Natouri, you are a first-generation American born in the Bronx to Jamaican parents, but your background was not always visual art. Your background started in fashion design. Tell me a little bit about that.
So growing up, my mom used to make our clothes for special occasions, like for Easter, for Christmas, things like that. She would make our clothes, and she was very into art and fashion, and so was my stepmom. So I used to just not really like design clothes. I used to like illustrate mainly. And growing up, just having only a certain amount of pieces of clothing, you had to like interchange them a lot, and trying to find how to wear the same piece in multiple different ways without looking like the same outfit.
Do you remember the first like piece of clothing that like you really designed or came up with on your own, like what it was?
I did remember growing up, I did want to design wedding dresses. So it was more of doing the evening gown type of things and wedding gowns, and then it came into more of, once I learned more about the business, it was more about how to stretch a collection. So it wasn't really, and then I think one of the biggest memories I had was doing a fundraiser fashion show.
Tell me about the fundraiser fashion show.
So it was back in the early 2000s, Jamaica had a huge hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Matthew. And so I got all my friends in together and family, and we did a fundraiser fashion show. And we donated like $5,000 to Dial for Jamaica to help rebuild it. So yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now you've said that earlier on in your career that Georgia O'Keeffe was a huge inspiration for you. And we certainly see that borne out in this exhibition with a ton of florals here. But
yes,
what was it about her art that like really spoke to you, and how do you see that borne out in your work today?
It was funny because when I first found out about Georgia O'Keeffe, it was, I saw the Oriental poppies at the MoMA Museum in Manhattan, and I fell in love with it, and that's when I started researching her a little bit more. And the first research I did, it basically said that she did florals, but it was a way of her, I guess, going against culture and what's the rebellion. It was also like a rebellion. That's what we thought it was, but it wasn't. It was also having her, the people always got flowers, but they never stopped to look at the flowers. So her drawing the flowers in big, large scales that she did, it was getting people to more look and actually see the flower for what it was. So that's very interesting. So that kind of ties into the reason why I do it, is because there's so much chaos in the world, and having people actually stop and look at the flowers, not even the flowers, but like different scenery that you don't normally pause to look at, like the palm trees, the sunset, different buildings, and how the sun hits certain things, like seeing the beauty in everyday life. I think that's where her and I are similar.
Yeah. You've mentioned that a lot of your work is about slowing down and highlighting things that are worthy of pause, right? So what sort of things are worthy of pause in Welcome to the Tropics here for you?
There's a lot of things, like when the palm tree over in Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, it's like seeing the sunset, like stopping and actually looking at the colors of the sunset and how the palm tree in the backdrop of the different multiple colors. If you look at the goat house in Jamaica, just seeing like the different colors like the broken wood has against with the sunshine or sunset like coming, gleaming through. Just different things like that. It's like, wow, like if you don't, everyday life, you just walk by, okay, it's just another sunset, or it's just another broken down goat shed. Actually, no, it actually could be really gorgeous if you actually take the time and look at it.
I love that. Well, you take the time to stop and pause and look through a bunch of different mediums, right? I know you've done acrylics, you've done drawing, you do fashion design, photography. So do any of these art forms like ever inform one another? Like, are you capturing source photography that you then use as the subject of one of your paintings, or how do they work together?
I do. Most of my florals are source photography. So a lot of them, I went to Jamaica in February, and a lot of them, when my stepmom and I went walking along the mountains, we just stopped and take pictures, or she'll notice a flower that she likes and I'll take a picture of it. And then later on down the line, it becomes a painting.
Yeah. So here's a question I think a lot of people want to know about photography. black and white versus color.
Yes.
Like, when are you making the decision, or how do you make the decision to showcase in one color palette or the other?
It's different. Sometimes it's just playing around with it and seeing how it looks. Sometimes you know off the bat, oh, that would be perfect in black and white. But sometimes it looks great in both. What I usually kind of do is I kind of play with it. But for me, it's something that has great depth. Like if you look at it in color and it has great depth, then you know automatically that's gonna be great in black and white.
Yeah. So, you know, your Instagram has a lot of photography in color and black and white, but it almost like reads like a travel log. Like, and it's not selfies, it's not pictures of you and your stepmom hiking or your lunch or anything. It's a lot of studies of sort of the space that you're inhabiting at that moment, like a lot of architecture and a lot of foliage. So when you think back on all of the places that you visited and these moments that are worthy of pause, was there an experience for you that was either like really surprising or really noteworthy or stands out in your head as something that you're glad you captured?
There's a bunch that comes to mind. One of them was when we went to Washington. We went to a fort in Virginia, and it was like capturing the old fort and just thinking about, okay, this is how it looks like now, but I wonder how it looks like back in the day when they were actually utilizing the fort and the fort was actually open, when they had to use the fort to protect the Potomac. I think about that. So it's more of how it looks now and how did it look back in those days, like the history. I'm a really history buff. There's a couple of pictures here of like a inn. It used to be an inn, but it's like destroyed by one of the hurricanes. And how was this inn when it was open? But it's still gorgeous in its brokenness. And so I kind of look at that.
I love that. Again, this is really like intentional and like deep study of things, right? Like you're not just like a fleeting passing artist on any of the work. You put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
You know, thinking about like fashion and photography and acrylics, are there other mediums or art forms that you've always wanted to explore or you might consider trying next?
I did want to try sculpting, but it just looks so intimidating. But I think that and glass blowing.
That's also intimidating. There's fire involved.
It is. And I'm like, ooh, okay, I want to try it. I've been thinking about taking a class just to get my hands on it. I haven't done it yet, but maybe one day.
Yeah. So I know a lot of first generation artists want some artistic and creative way to like connect back to their heritage, right, and their ancestry and their lineage. So how does Jamaica show up for you in this work and in Welcome to the Tropics?
I think in the color. Like, if you think about the tropics, the islands, we use a lot of, it's very colorful. A lot of times when you see, it also has a lot of contrasting colors as well too. Like you'll see like an orange building with like a green door or something crazy. And it's like, where did that color scheme come from? And I think with a lot of my work, you see the contrasting colors and a lot of color in my images or my paintings.
Yeah. What does your family think about the art?
They're very excited and happy. Yeah, my dad was like, if you're not going to showcase it, I will. So, but yeah, they're very excited and happy that I actually took the courage and stepped to actually showcase it. My stepmom was actually here earlier and she helped us install and place everything. So she was very hands-on in installation. And she also too, she always encourages me whenever she sees something, like a flower, she always sends me a picture. Like, what do you think about this in a painting? So, yeah.
I love it. You can credit her in the tag for the pieces that you do for those.
Yeah.
So, but this is your first solo show, is that right?
It is.
How does that feel?
It's very exciting, nervous, and scary all at the same time.
Okay. I get that. I get that. So if people are really excited, if people see this work, of course, all of it's for sale and all of it, they can connect with you directly to buy a piece. But if they want to look at other work, if they want to follow you, where can people find you on Facebook, Instagram?
Instagram at Natouri Roye LLC. I'm starting a webpage. I have a website, so I haven't got that up and running yet. But once I have that up and running, then I'll post it on my Instagram page that's open.
That's great. So people are going to come, they're going to fall in love, they're going to follow you, and they're going to get to say, I saw her at her very first solo exhibition here at the Multicultural Center in Orange County.
Yeah.
Natouri, thank you so much for being here and for sharing your art and being brave and nervous and excited with us so that we could be welcome to the tropics.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Artist Spotlight. We'll catch you next time.